In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Wolfman has Nards. That's the line we're opening with. That's the memorable line from the movie. Let's rock and roll. We are talking Monster Squad with Kevin Mosteller. Kevin, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure, Sam. Thank you for having me.
3 episodes after your last episode?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Does that make me a series regular now?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
We were going to have on another guest, but unfortunately he had to cancel last minute today. But I wanted to talk to some people who grew up loving the movie Monster Squad.
And I am one of them.
When did you first see this movie?
So Monster Squad was that another one of those video treasures that I found. I was that weird kid who went through the horror section and rented all the movies and brought them home.
And this counted as a horror movie?
It was in the horror section growing up. Yeah,
weird.
I know, right? But
especially by modern standards.
Yeah, it's really. But it was one that we could watch with the littler kids in my family. Mm-hmm. So
that makes sense.
That one worked out well.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of like a comparison if this counts as a horror movie with like a horror movie that came out today. I haven't watched it yet, but did you watch the trailer for Us?
I have watched the trailer for Us, actually.
How does this compare?
This is not a horror movie compared to Us at all.
Is Us going to be good?
I have a feeling Us will be good. It looks just weird enough to be fun and scary.
Good, that's all you want.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in a good horror.
Yeah,
film.
I mean, Jordan Peele's amazing. So here's my story with Monster Squad, because I saw Monster Squad for the first time 5 years ago, let's say.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of this movie. Mm-hmm. This movie was the second instance of I wrote a script. I sat down to create the script. I wrote it. I created this thing, and then I was describing it to someone, and they went, "Oh, like blank?" Mm-hmm. The first instance was the first pilot I ever wrote was, I was like, you know what? Lawyers and doctors, they make all of these different TV shows about these people, like these kind of not necessarily liked professions. Everyone's scared of the doctor. They don't like lawyers. Mm-hmm. What's another profession people don't like? Undertakers. I'll do a story about a couple of brothers that run a funeral home. And so I wrote this pilot, and then I was describing it to my friend, and he said, you mean like 6 Feet Under? And I said, what's that?
Yes.
And so I had to sit and watch 6 Feet Under. My show's nothing like that, but I also didn't like 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, I had a show that was very similar. That was like we were talking about doctors and lawyers. Mm-hmm. My big pilot is Haunted, and it's about a lawyer who can see ghosts.
Yeah,
so great premise right there. But I had the same thing happen of like, have you ever seen 6 Feet Under? And then there was one more too as well that was like, God, the name escapes me right now. But there's another one where
it's a lawyer who can see ghosts.
It wasn't a lawyer who sees ghosts, but there was like ghosts interacting with people in the real world. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's also kind of similar in concept to Pushing Daisies of, well...
That was it, Pushing Daisies. Jeez, man.
I mean, I love Pushing Daisies.
That was fun, yeah.
And they always like, well, what if we brought back Pushing Daisies? But it won't come back.
Please don't do it. I mean, in the day that we're rebooting Roseanne, let's...
Although now it's Roseanne without Roseanne, right? Now is it called...
now it's The Connors now.
Thank you.
With John Goodman in the lead.
Yeah, which I'm always down for more John Goodman.
Yeah, same here.
But the second instance of that happening to me was I wrote a movie about a team of monsters that fought other monsters.
Oh.
And I'm really proud of this movie. It's called The Horrors, and it's a name that works well on paper, but mm-hmm. when you say it out loud, it sounds like The Horrors.
You're like, wait, come again?
But it is The Horrors. And eventually I will need to change that. But I was describing it to someone, they're like, oh, like Monster Squad. How about a what? And so I had to go look up this movie, and I found it on Netflix, and I got the DVD or something, and I'm sitting down and watching, I'm like, okay, this is nothing like my movie. But now I can't use that name because that name's better than mine.
Exactly.
Shoot.
I hate when that happens.
But like I saw this movie the first time 5 years ago, and I remember kind of like enjoying it. Oh, it's cute. But then sitting down and watching it now.
Yeah, it really doesn't hold up. Now, I mean, full disclosure, it's been about 5 years since I've seen it. I watched it this morning. I mean,
Perfect.
I was refreshed with the beats. You know, in my head, it was it was like the B-movie version of The Goonies.
And kind of.
Boy, man, it just really...
Well, aside from the fact that it never feels like there are any real stakes.
No.
Except until, like, the last 30 seconds and then it's over.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
It also makes some really bad jokes.
Yes, some really bad jokes. And, I mean, we can talk... That's a testament to our screenwriter.
Absolutely.
Screenwriters. Excuse me. I forgot this was a collaboration.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Shane
Black and Fred Decker. Man, I butchered his name. That sucks.
And that's... Well, I guess they're both kind of easy names.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, you compare it to another Shane Black movie from around the same time. You compare it to the movie I did for Shane Black Christmas special, whatever, which was Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh, yeah.
And Long Kiss Goodnight is... I still love that movie. I think that movie's fairly progressive for its time.
It was, yeah.
It's very feminist. It's kind of positive. All these other things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you compare it to this, and it's just
what happened?
Like, they have a whole, like, one of the first lines at the beginning of the movie is like it's incredibly having a really homophobic conversation. These two kids.
Oh, absolutely. He even drops the word homo.
Yeah, it's like they're comparing homos and cat people.
Yeah,
and it's weird.
And if I've had, I want to badmouth the guy. I've had a few experiences with Shane Black, and that really is kind of how he talks still, and he's got that 80s guy mentality to it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't make it okay.
No.
But that's just like, you watch it now and you hear the voice and you're just like, there it is. Yeah. All right, great. This kind of movie.
And there was a lot of Confederate imagery in this movie.
Yes, there was. A lot.
Where does it take place? I meant to look that up, but like...
I don't know if it's ever established. I mean, the thing is, it's shot around Burbank and at the studios.
Of course.
But I'm not sure, like, what the decision was. Is it just that there's creepy old statues that are Confederates?
And then one of the little kids is wearing a Confederate hat.
Oh, that one I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the little kid?
The little kid. When he's writing the letter to the army, he's sitting there wearing a Confederate hat.
I did not catch that. Wow.
I paused it and looked at it. I was like, this is weird.
I can't. Wow. I did not catch that. But, I mean, maybe... I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one.
I'm trying to find the name of the town, and as far as I can tell, no town is specifically ever named.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Any town where they've got a scary German guy.
Well, a scary German guy and somehow an old haunted house up on 666 Lane that's been abandoned for whatever. Yeah.
I mean, any place that has a 666 Lane.
It's got to have tons of Confederate statues.
Not gonna lie, I kind of liked that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and then like the scary German guy who's just like one of, if not the best character.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Like, he was great. And, like, there's that first moment where he's like, I'm holding up the knife. He's like, all right, this is almost the end. We're almost out of pie. He slices the pie, and I'm like, this guy.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah, he was fun. He was fun, but man, was that a cheesy move. Like,
yeah. To the point where I almost completely forgot to cast him. Like, I'm going through, because, like, you get your monsters, you get the kids, you get the parents. And I was like, all right, cool, that's enough.
There's so much in this movie. Like, it was
so many.
It was hard to track. Like, I couldn't imagine writing it.
What is the end goal for the monsters?
I believe, and at least I've read the screenplay for this as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The screenplay was better than the movie. Well,
that's my understanding, because my understanding is that Shane Black writes fun things to read.
Yes, yeah, and Fred Decker, in this instance, who is also the writer as well, they have a really fun combo. And I don't know if you want to get on a tangent. There was a screenplay that they wrote that never got made. That was actually one of the best screenplays I've ever written.
Oh, really? Please tell me about this.
So it's called Shadow Company, and it was post Monster Squad. Mm-hmm. It was optioned by Universal, I believe, and supposedly it was attached to John Carpenter at one point. It was supposed to be his movie after They Live. He was going to make this movie with Kurt Russell in the lead called Shadow Company. And it's basically, like, the premise is Shane Black's MO on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, there it is.
A bunch of Vietnam soldiers, super soldiers, who were part of this program and were killed in Vietnam and are, like, notorious MIA, like, Vietnamese, not Vietnamese, casualties of Vietnam, rather. They finally bring them home, and they are basically brought back to life by this random weird serum and wreak havoc on this small town.
So
it's military zombies.
I was gonna say military zombies.
Yeah, army zombies blowing up a small town, and then supposedly Kurt Russell is the one that made it out alive, and he has to stop them.
So it's people who died in Vietnam, but it is not the Vietnamese.
No, it was our American soldiers.
Okay.
Sorry,
that could have been real bad, but
Yes.
that's actually super. I would, and especially because that'd be like a zombie movie before like real
before Walking Dead. Type, yeah.
But not before like the Day After Tomorrow, wherever it is.
Yeah, it would have
around the same time.
So historically, it would probably have fit in around 89, 90. So it would be like post Romero zombie.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be like the day of
28 days.
28 days later. Thank you. The Day After Tomorrow's a disaster flick, I think.
That's the one with the movie poster of like the Statue of Liberty arm.
Yeah.
I'm holding up my arm so the audience can see.
Oh my goodness, it's covered in snow. But yeah,
because it doesn't snow in New York.
No, never. Global warming, man. Yeah. But
we're all gonna die.
So it was. If this movie was made, I guarantee you'd probably be doing a podcast.
Oh, which reminds me, the last time we recorded, we were very encouraging of people to vote.
Yes.
Turns out some people did. That was
did.
Nice. That's a little bit of follow up. Some voting happened.
Yeah, and I mean
not all the voting.
No, but I mean,
but some of it.
Taking over the House. That's
something.
That's a start.
That's good.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that most of the seats in like the Senate that are controlled by Republicans weren't up for vote anyway.
Right.
So the fact that we did as well as we did is great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's a major turn. And I think people are starting to kind of be like, okay, now, this is what happens when I don't.
I mean, and full disclosure, I know it's bad that the government's getting shut down, but like I kind of wanted the government to get shut down so that like they couldn't pass any lame duck things.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Probably still happened. This will also come out in the future. I hope it didn't. Anyway.
I really hope it didn't, yeah. My favorite picture over the holidays is Donald Trump signing blank bills, though, at the desk. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, it was great. A great photo op. He tweeted it out. God, I want to say like a couple days before Christmas, maybe last Friday, but it was like, I canceled my trip to Mar-a-Lago to make sure we're running things smoothly just before the government shutdown. And it's like a photo of him at his desk, like creepily staring into the camera, like trying, like posed, like, you caught me signing bills, and the bill on his desk is a blank sheet of paper in the blue leather envelope.
Okay, so it's not that he's passing anything. It's not that he's writing a blank check.
No, it is a blank piece of paper that he is claiming as a bill.
Just a photo op.
Yep.
Okay. That's better than what I originally thought.
Oh, no.
Because when you said signing blank bills, like he was pre-signing it so they could just put the legislature on it later.
Oh, I see. No. I hope that's not what they're doing.
I don't think that's a thing you can do.
I don't think so either, but
who knows now?
We've seen a lot of things happen that are things that you're supposed to not be able to do, right?
What a sad, pathetic man.
Yes. Anyway, back to Monster Squad.
Anyway, Wolfman's got Nards. There's also a lot of people who die in this movie. Getting back to Monster Squad.
Yes.
Like there's a moment as we get towards the end of the movie where Sean's dad, I don't care about his real name, Sean's dad's partner is in the car and Dracula throws dynamite into the car. And it blows up. The one black guy in the entire movie.
I noticed that as well, yeah. And like, it just really seemed like some of those characters were there to die.
Yes.
Like that was their sole purpose as, we need casualty at the end. Oh, we also need some color, right? We have to have that token, unfortunately.
And then there was just a random dude who just kind of floated into the portal to hell or whatever it was.
In the beginling?
No, at the end.
At the end. Oh, yeah. Yes.
And then meanwhile, like the 5-year-old girl's just huddled behind a bench that's tilted over. No one's going after her. She's fine. Everything's good.
Yeah, totally fine. Everybody's getting sucked into that hole, but
I'm not want to talk about costume design, but you brought it up, the 100 years ago portal, when they bring in the virgin girl and she's just wearing just a summer dress. Yeah,
I noticed that as well, where it's like everybody's dressed very period correct for like 1800s Germany,
and it just looked like they grabbed a random lady out of high school.
Yeah, or like picked them up at like the Miller's Outpost or Nordstrom or something like this.
It didn't fit.
No, not at all. So, in the script, at least from my memory, there was this huge opening that was written in place of that, which I think it was supposed to be World War I or II, but Shane Black had written in all these Zeppelins coming in to attack, and like It was full on military raid on Dracula.
It was going to be every 50 years, not every...
I guess so. Like that, they didn't call it. I don't remember them calling it out. It's been like a couple of years since I've read the script.
Whatever the something is in alignment, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember reading it and just being like, oh, that would have been cool. But I guess the budget
wasn't there.
Yeah.
This felt like a very low budget movie.
It did. And also my favorite screenwriting faux pas in this movie is they open with a scroll telling you how they blew it, and then they show you how they blew it.
Yeah.
I was like, is this supposed to be a different time they blew it?
Well,
or like...
I agree that they should have had one or the other, but the movie's only 79 minutes.
Right.
And technically, if you're making a movie now, for it to be counted as a feature film, it has to be 82 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As somebody who's submitting to festivals, they're a little grayer. It's some are 60 minutes and over.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
So I mean,
for
maybe
it to count as like a full feature length,
yes,
whatever.
Yes. So maybe the bar has been lowered or raised. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Because it might be for like union things.
That might be. It might be a union. Because I know like some of the other older horror flicks were only 75 minutes. An hour 10 of a guy in a mask. That's all you need.
Look, it was 79 minutes, but really this was a half-hour movie.
Yeah, essentially.
Because essentially it's these kids. They're in a club of people who know about monsters, and so that makes them particularly cognizant of when monsters are coming back.
Yes, it's on their radar, so to speak. They can see it. Which is one of my favorite moments in this movie is when he does the anagram.
Yeah, it's just Dracula backwards.
Yeah, and suddenly that means Dracula's here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess one could argue that that's a kid's conclusion, but come on.
I don't remember how he got the anagram. I just remember like him hearing about the dad like getting in a fight with the mom. Like, I had to kill a guy today. Of course I'm upset.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you have time for me?
I feel like that's a very 80s argument too.
It is, and it's also a very like needy housewife.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No, not at all.
But he hears this name instead of hearing this guy like, yeah, this guy kept claiming he was a Wolfman and I had to shoot him. Like, instead of he kind of absorbs that information and is like, but that name though, and then he like writes it out properly.
Yeah, it was like written. It's like they wanted to buy the book, right?
Yeah.
Some guy wanted to buy the book, and this was his name. It was on like the kitchen note or whatever.
Where had the book been?
The book had belonged to the guy in the beginning. That is Van Helsing. I don't know if they ever name him Van Helsing, but he's supposed to be Van Helsing.
The one at the very beginning. Yeah.
So that book belonged to him.
Right. I got. Oh, but where was it in the present?
In the present, the mom bought it from a garage sale and gave it to the kid. And gave it to the lead, Sean. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's coming back to me now. I watched this movie less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's one of those movies like, yes, it's 79 minutes, but boy, does it feel like it's like 2.5 hours. You're sitting there going, when is this thing going to start?
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, I think one of the other problems is I think there are too many characters.
Yes.
I eliminated a kid when I was doing the recasting, and I eliminated a monster.
Okay.
Although, frankly, I'm open to which monster I eliminate. Because I think Wolfman's appropriate, because I think that's fun. Yeah. Dracula's appropriate, because they need their leader. And then we had the Mummy...
And the Creature.
And Frankenstein.
And Frankenstein, yeah.
So we need Frankenstein, the Mummy, and Dracula. Creature and the Mummy, I would have gotten rid of one of them.
Yeah, they're kind of not like, it's fun to see all 5 of these Universal monsters on screen, but both of them are just props, basically.
Absolutely.
I mean, like there are some funny gags. The kid opens the door and there's a monster in my closet, and there's the Mummy
for no reason.
For no reason whatsoever.
There's no reason why the Mummy is there, and then it just leaves.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a gag.
It does nothing.
Absolutely not.
I cut that kid.
Okay. Good. That's the little kid, right?
I cut the little kid, and I cut the kid who had the sister stripping across the street.
Oh, okay.
Because that does nothing.
No.
And I think it's a lot more interesting if these kids, it's not them trying to ask if someone's a virgin. They're just like, oh, it's just a young woman. My mom's a young woman. Let's get her to do it.
Yeah.
And then they just, reading this. Why isn't it working? Well, Mom, it says that, it said they get a virgin, so we got you. And like, I'm your mother.
Yeah.
This was never going to work. Why didn't you say that? I didn't know. I just thought that's what it meant.
I thought, young woman.
I think that's funnier as opposed to the obvious setup of she's not going to be, we know.
It is, yeah. And that's setup is also a very Shane Black move. Like, I feel like that's the kind of joke, that sense of humor that he likes to infuse into his script.
And sometimes that joke works. In Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, when he does the Russian roulette and shoots the guy, it's like, what is it? It's like a 1 in a million chance. No, it is not. It is 1 in 6. Or whatever, how many chambers the gun has.
1 in 5, yeah.
And it's a 20% chance. And like that works perfectly in that one. And then when he does he has a couple of those bits in The Nice Guys, which is great.
Yeah, that one's fun too.
But it didn't work here.
No, it didn't. And I mean, to be fair, I'm sure they thought this was just going to be a B movie that comes and goes, right? And
and to be fair, it was.
It was, yeah. It has a life of its own somehow, but
a little bit,
but
it's more because it's his first movie was Monster Squad right before doing Lethal Weapon.
Right.
I don't know. There's just a lot of things where it's also a little bit of the direction of 100 years ago when the summer dress wearing teenager is reading the
tome, the book of...
I'm going to call it the Necronomicon.
Yeah, sure. Necronomicon.
She's reading the Necronomicon, and then she just gets sucked into the portal.
Mm-hmm. Where does she go?
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah.
Which I think it would have been really interesting if then she came back and... Well, now that I'm talking about it, here's what I want to happen.
Okay.
I want that to be how they eliminate the first round, and then in the second round, she is the main bad. Like, she is Dracula come back. Because I cast a female Dracula.
Oh, okay.
And I think it'd be really funny if you let the virgin get sucked into hell, and then she is now corrupted and evil, and she comes back and is like, oh,
that is a fun idea.
You think you know what's going on? Let me tell you, I was you once.
That is a fun idea, actually. Especially in the twist of, like, you don't see it coming, because we've got these other monsters that, so.
I mean, a vampire's a vampire.
Yeah.
We don't need Dracula opening a closet door. There are 3 terrified young women in there, and then he just closes the door behind him.
Mm-hmm. And then later they come back as vampires. I wonder what was happening there.
Yeah. Oh God! If you're gonna have to give yourself some rape imagery, it's not good. And to be fair, that's a lot of the origin of what vampires are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, they are. They are. To be fair,
yeah.
And I feel like
and acknowledging that and being aware of it, I do think is important. And I don't think that move was necessarily wrong. It's just an image that makes you deeply uncomfortable, and not calling out that it's wrong is the mistake.
I agree with that. And also, like, unfortunately, this is from a different time, right?
Absolutely.
Where that wasn't even on the radar.
Yeah.
They just thought that this was going to be a funny gag to have. Oh, he's got 3 girls. That's his refrigerator. Ha, 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 right? Like,
basically, yeah.
So, but I do feel like that is an important part, which is why I think it's great that you cast a woman in Dracula's spot. I mean, that's a great role reversal in that aspect. But yeah, classically there.
And we can even focus on, like, she targets young female virgins because she's like, this was taken from me. Why does anyone else get to have it?
Right. Yeah, that's a fun. Instead of just being Dracula.
Yeah.
That's a fun.
Because Dracula could be killed at the beginning of the movie.
It could be.
And then just like that essence goes into her and the portal, whatever.
Or you can go all the way through, not expecting her, and you can have them defeat the monsters at the end. But why isn't this stopping?
Right.
And then here comes the real big bad.
Yeah.
She's been controlling it from behind the scenes the whole time. Cool with that. And that way you can have a classic Dracula too, and you can have him just be like a total putz. And
yeah.
Because that's the kind of the direction that I went.
I'm good with that. It either needed to lean more into kind of the intrigue or more into the comedy. It was kind of walking the line between them.
Yes.
That said, there are a lot of moments in this movie that I really liked.
Yeah.
I went to a live podcast where they were interviewing Shane Black, and he talks about how one of his favorite things in the movie is at the beginning of the movie they're talking about how there's only one way to kill a werewolf.
Right.
Only one way to kill a werewolf. All these other things that happen doesn't kill them. Mm-hmm. To the point where you literally blow up a werewolf, but it's not a silver bullet, doesn't work.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite gag in the whole movie.
And it's great.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And more of, we blew him up. It wasn't a silver bullet. What? And I love that. I think that's such a great moment. And I think if you did that kind of with all of them, these people who are like classic monster movie nerds, like the people who know, like these kids are so obsessed with all like the lore and everything that the only reason that Well, I thought only silver bullets could do it. Well, back in this story, it turns out that this kind of
so-and-so can kill it this way. And
Wolf's Bane something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he takes the garlic and shoves it in Dracula's face, that's a big moment.
I thought that was another great gag, too, that's kind of a modern version of that, throwing an Italian dish in his face, and it's totally scarring him. That being said, the other two monsters didn't really have that. You had the mummy got unraveled, which felt like it was a cartoon.
Yeah, which is why I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no reason why that arrow should have stuck in that tree. It looked like a PA went kind of gently stabbed it into the tree.
It was like blowing in the wind, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh, well, that didn't work. Next.
Yeah, and then the creature just got shot.
Yeah.
Like, that was just kind of like really anticlimactic.
Just a fish man.
Yeah.
Doesn't have it. What are its weaknesses? All of them.
Everything. Yeah. But I feel like it could be fun to throw some sort of weakness in there to make him scary, right?
Does the creature from the Black Lagoon, does the mummy have weaknesses?
Well, I mean, I feel like...
I'm asking you. You're the horror
guy. I feel like they nailed it with the mummy in that, he could unravel if you fall apart because it's like a ton of bones, right?
Yeah.
But the creature, I mean... There are so many Creature of the Black Lagoon movies that they made, and
how'd they kill the guy in the fish movie?
Yeah, they did shoot him.
Yeah, it was.
We're talking about the Guillermo del Toro's.
Yeah, and I don't know why I can't think of the name of it. I keep wanting to call
water.
Yes,
Shape of Water.
I kept wanting to call it On Stranger Tides.
That would have been a better name for it for sure.
It was taken.
I know it was taken, but yeah, if we could,
Shape of Water.
Yeah,
and he gets shot in that.
He gets shot in the end. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
wow. I'm looking at the numbers for Monster Squad, and that is a bona fide flop.
Yeah.
So the budget for this movie was $12 million. Opening weekend was under $2 million, and the gross, both in the U.S. and worldwide, because it didn't have a world release, was $3.7 million.
Wow.
That's really bad.
So my first thought is, they got $12 million to make a movie, and that's what they did with it.
And it's not like it went to the cast either.
No, I know. It's not like they, I mean, I think the biggest name is Mary Ellen Trainor, right?
Yeah. And she's barely used.
Yeah, she's barely in it.
I mean, does it go to the explosions?
Maybe the visual effects. It may have been the effects, actually, because it was Stan Winston that did the effects for this.
Yeah,
they're an expensive.
And frankly, the Wolfman effects were pretty good.
Yeah, they were, and some of the Dracula ones were decent too. Yeah. Some of them were kind of like all right.
I mean, for the time, the monsters were pretty good.
Yeah, and
even the Mummy was pretty good.
Yeah, the Mummy was cool looking. He definitely had a drag to him, that classical mummy shift. Yeah. But it was also, I mean, clearly an actor.
Yes.
I take that back. He was a puppet at one point. In the closet, I think he was a puppet. He looked like a puppet when they opened the door. So it could have been. Anyway, sorry. Small potatoes.
But so what are some aspects of this movie? Like, what are, having just rewatched this movie, what are the favorite parts of the movie now? Like, there were the parts that you really liked as a kid and the parts that you really like now. So what are those two different things that you like?
So the things that I liked as a kid was the adventure aspect of it, like the kind of Goonies side of it is the same thing that kind of appealed to me about Goonies, and now Stranger Things as an adult, that I go back and watch some of that stuff. The fact that there was this club of kids who loved monsters, who just thought that, like, suddenly came across these monsters, and they were the only believers, right? And they get to go off and have this adventure with these and fight Dracula. I
absolutely wanted more of that. Like, the fact that the army shows up because this kid wrote a letter that there are monsters. I didn't want that. I want the kid to, like, go track down some army people and say, there are monsters. Kid, be quiet. I don't believe. Crunch. He gets just eaten by monsters.
Yeah, that would be great.
Like, I want, like, more people refusing the call.
Yeah.
When they should be believing the kids.
And that's pretty much when you watch this movie, that is the hardest leap that you will have to make, is that suddenly everybody is a believer in monsters.
Like, I mean, it helps when there is a Wolfman standing there. Hey, look, there's Dracula.
Yes, but I mean, especially in the first act, where they're just like,
oh,
like we were talking about with the anagram, like, oh, on the wall it's written Dracula backwards. Figure that out. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, what I thought was really interesting was at the beginning of the movie where Dracula's stealing what? He's stealing something from the plane, but I still don't know what he was taking.
I think he was taking Frankenstein's body.
That was Frankenstein?
I think it was Frankenstein's body. Because the crate falls from the plane, too, and lands, and later they take the crate out. And
all right, cool. So that is what that was.
Yeah.
I liked his cane, his like little lightning rod cane where like the wolf head and he plugged the things in.
Which is like one purpose. His cane has one purpose.
Well, I also like to think that it was a silver head, so Wolfman was like, nope, all right, you know what's going on.
Oh, maybe that was it.
Because that's how I thought he was threatening Wolfman. Like, Wolfman was coming towards him, was like, silver cane. Oh, no, you know what's up.
All right. I didn't pick up on that.
But in the plane, like, the guy goes back to investigate, and he finds some dude, like, kind of, like, weirdly caressing this coffin. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Let me murder him.
Yeah.
And, of course, that dude should have been sucked out because massive decompression. But also... he just, like, straight up tries to murder this guy. Mm-hmm. I like that there was a lever for that specific... and then Dracula just floats.
Yeah, turns into a...
like, obviously, if this was made now, it'd be a little bit more, like, all right, Dracula's, like, killing people, and, like, this is the only thing I can do to stop him. Just flip the switch. And then it doesn't work, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Dracula, like, goes over and just, like, pulls his fingers off, and he gets sucked out of the plane, too. And then Dracula dives after him and just, like, sucks his blood and, like, flies off.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Corpse drops in the water. You know, ha ha ha. But, yeah, it was, that was a pretty cheesy moment. I personally think it would have been fun to see the bat stay. You know, kind of like hang on for dear life while everything else was getting sucked out.
That would be fun, too.
Yeah, and then take out the pilot and then go
I did like that they kept going back and forth between dude and bat.
Yeah.
Because that's doesn't happen as much with vampires anymore. It's more like, yeah, they're a vampire. We doing the bat thing?
Yeah.
No.
The bat thing has really kind of lost its luster there.
Have you read any Terry Pratchett?
I have not.
Okay, Terry Pratchett is a fantasy comedy writer.
Okay.
And his series of books all take place on a disc world, which is a disc-shaped world on the back of 4 elephants on the back of a turtle flying through space.
All right.
It's great. But the way, and it's a world with vampires and werewolves too, but the way they kind of talk about vampires is there's a lady vampire named Sally, and she talks about how, depending on the power of the vampire, changing into one bat's really hard. She transforms into a swarm of bats, because there's that whole pesky law of conservation of mass. And so she has to turn into a swarm of bats because one bat isn't enough to, like...
wouldn't equate or whatever.
So either you can become one massive bat or a swarm of bats.
That makes perfect sense, actually. That makes a ton of sense.
And I think it'd be fun to like kind of play around with that.
Yeah, and visually it's cool too. It just somebody just explodes into a swarm of bats.
Oh no, not that. I use that in mine. Don't use that. That in the horrors I do that. It's not important. I'll be over here.
Okay, all right. Well, that can be.
But yes, like that's basically the idea, because it's a cool power that doesn't get used enough.
Yeah,
it's
especially
super interesting.
Yeah, especially when and it also ties back into the weird kind of rapey beginnings of Dracula as well. Yeah. The stalker can just into a small,
can follow
creature.
you and there's no one behind you.
Yeah, and go through air vents and all kinds of other weird shit. So,
and I'd love to see them kill Wolfman a bunch of different ways, and he keeps coming back.
Yeah. Especially, if you wanted to go kind of a little leaning towards more R-rated today, you can definitely have a lot of fun with the gore in comedy, taking out Wolfman. This movie has a lot of blood in it. It does, surprisingly does. And I think it was only PG-13, right? A guy gets blown up.
It is PG-13.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is this from a time post PG-13? But it is.
No. It is, 86, right?
87.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And PG-13 is as a result of Temple of Doom?
And Gremlins.
Yeah. Okay.
They were both... It was actually Steven Spielberg,
right,
who was like, well, then we need something in between, because these are not R-rated movies.
Right.
These are made for kids. They're just a little more intense.
They're just slightly older kids.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly.
I've watched Toys That Made Us.
Yeah. That's a good little series.
Yeah. Yes. I should go back to it, but I keep having too many other things to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the things... So that's kind of what you liked as a kid. As an adult, what are the moments you're like, all right, that's pretty good, other than the Exploding Wolfman?
Actually, that may have been... the Exploding Wolfman was one of my favorite moments.
It's such a good moment.
It really is. Some of my favorite moments as an adult were more the monster kind of edge things, like just in terms of like cheese, you know what I mean? As somebody who loves horror, the cheese factor is a blast, right? Like this guy's, I can't remember the name who played Dracula, but boy is he is hamming it up.
He hams it up so hard.
Yeah.
Duncan Rager.
Yes, that guy. who I honestly don't know any of his other filmography. But
he doesn't really have any other filmography.
Okay.
He was in 1985's V. He's in Flying Virus.
I know V.
His picture on IMDb is
a Roman centurion of some kind.
I'm guessing it's from Wizards and Warriors. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he played a warrior.
Probably. Unless that's the way Wizards looked back then.
Yeah, but he's like in some other things too. He probably passed away because his last movie's... No, he must have been only 66. His last movie is 2009.
He retired from the industry.
Well, yeah, he was in Air Bud 3 and...
Oh, man. That was a classic.
He's in The Last Samurai.
But not The Last Samurai. If you look, that's 1988's Last Samurai.
Oh, interesting. And he does some TV stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, Star Trek. Oh, and look, Wolfman's got Nards.
Oh no! In 2018, there is something. Oh god, it's got to be a documentary about Monster Squad because it's documentary horror, and the movie's called Wolfman's Got Nards.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, I'm clicking on this because we got to know what this is.
You can go down the rabbit hole.
Heartfelt documentary explores the power of cult film told through the lens of 1987 classic The Monster Squad and the impact it had on fans, cast, and crew, and the industry.
Oh, and it's directed by the kid who played Sean.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's... so maybe... sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, my thought is this had to have been a moment in all of their lives that were very important.
Yeah.
For him to go back and make a documentary about it, it's kind of like that. What's that best worst movie?
The one about the room?
No, it's the one about
Mono's Hands of Fate.
No, but that's another one. It's why is it Troll 2? It's about Troll 2. I think it's called Best Worst Movie.
Interesting.
And it follows the lead actor in Troll 2 who's like a dentist in Utah or something like that, and it comes back to all the people who are in this really, really awful, like notoriously bad movie.
Uh-huh.
And it's a lot of fun, but it was very clear that this was all a moment in their lives that they thought that it was a game changer, and so maybe that's...
Now that I'm thinking about it, I went to this live podcast with Shane Black a year or two ago, and I feel like he mentioned having just been interviewed by the kid who played...
Oh!
So it occurs to me now that I could have remembered this, but I didn't remember that this existed, but now I want to go watch it.
Yeah, same here. It would be kind of fun to see, especially how some of these people, not many people went on to do anything after this. At least not, there was the kid who was the brother in Wonder Years.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he was one of the bullies. He was the EG or something like that. At the beginning, he's the one that pushes the fat kid down.
Yeah, I recognize that kid.
Yeah, he's from Wonder Years.
I cut those kids, or if I didn't bother recasting
them.
You get a random kid.
Yeah, they're marginal. You don't need to recast them.
Okay, so let's talk general plot for the movie we want. Do we want to have Van Helsing? Because I do like the idea of this innocent person getting stuck in the portal and this thing was stopped and then them coming back.
I liked having I like that idea too. I liked having a Van Helsing come back at the end to help them.
But he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He appeared out of nowhere for no reason.
Right. Well, he got sucked in the portal in the beginning.
Did he?
Yeah. You blink and you miss it.
Okay, because I was looking and it looked like he wasn't. It looked like he avoided it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I guess he got sucked in because he's coming back out of the portal at the end. So
okay, So if he came out of the portal, I find that more interesting because I just saw him just there all of a sudden.
No, he does come out of the portal and grabs.
All right, I was watching it. Yeah, I just missed that. Okay, I like that then, especially if he gets especially if he goes in after her, and oh no, she got sucked in. Guys, I'm going to go rescue her. And he jumps in after her. And then she gets turned evil. And then afterwards, he's like, I couldn't save you. I'm sorry. And he pulls her back into the portal.
Right. That makes it much more... Number one, it makes more sense story-wise. And number two, it makes it much more heroic for Van Helsing. Because then Van Helsing just kind of goes out like a bitch, like Boba Fett. Just falls into a hole,
That, and also he's shouting at the scroll, do the thing! Do the thing! And she's like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
But also, yeah. So I imagine if there were a real Van Helsing, he wouldn't have been a great guy. But for the purposes of the story, I think that makes it a little more interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
So those are our bookends. So now let's talk about the inside of the movie.
Okay.
I do want to... I cut the kid with the sister because that's problematic.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just creepy.
And... Yeah. And so I think it's a little bit more interesting if it's just like the main 4 kids instead of 5. I still have the cool kid, the fat kid, the club leader, and the little sister.
Okay. I had the club leader, the second in command or whatever, and fat kid, whose name is Fat Kid.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then I had the cool kid.
Well, his name's Horace.
Well, his name's Horace, but Fat Kid.
Yeah, Fat
Kid. That was me when I was little, by the way.
Sure.
I was that kid. I had the bad bowl cut and everything. Great. People beating me up over comic books.
In terms of child acting, though, he did do, like, there were a couple kids who were bad child actors.
Yeah.
Like, the super young little boy was not good.
No.
Like, they could, like, just stare at it. Just blank, just dumb expression.
I think that's probably why he didn't get a whole lot of screen time.
So cut him.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so it's like... And I think somehow... And I kind of like that he gets bought the Necronomicon just randomly, that's just found at a yard sale.
Yeah.
Because who cares? It just gets passed down. No one believes in this, but they're like, where'd you find this? Yard sale?
Yeah, this. You like monsters and stuff. You might like this.
Mm-hmm. And I even like the idea of their first adventure is investigating the haunted house with the creepy guy living inside.
Yeah.
And then they just find out. And, like, I think that's, like, kind of their first little arc because they go investigate it and find out he's not that creepy.
Right. I feel like that's a good idea. But I feel like... Sorry, go ahead.
And I honestly think that should be a little bit of a letdown for them. Like, they love solving the mystery.
Mm-hmm. They think they've got this big monster on their hands and
then it's just not. And they're like, well, thank you for the pie, but we were kind of hoping you were a monster. Like, it's not real. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or does it? And he's just like this one old guy who winks at them because he comes back and helps them later.
Yeah, it's creepy old. Not as creepy. I mean, he does have that line at the end, but I guess I do know a lot about monsters. Ha ha, wink wink. When he's saying goodbye to the kids, if I was a vampire, I would not have be casting a reflection or whatever the hell he says. But yeah, he has that really cheesy...
That sure felt like a Chekhov's gun moment, but it never paid off.
No, it didn't. Well, I mean, I guess in a way it kind of did in that he was there in the end and he kind of knew what was going on. But...
Oh, no, I meant the line specifically, like, if I was really Dracula, I wouldn't be appearing in a mirror.
Yeah.
And then like, Dracula... There are never any mirrors around Dracula.
Yes, yeah.
And if it's like some vampire person and they're trying to like steal some book or something, it's like, oh, well, yeah, no. Hey, just wanted to come by. We sold something at a yard sale. Didn't really mean to. It's a big family heirloom and it ended up in the wrong pile. Do you mind if we get it back? We'll give you the $5 back. Oh yeah, sure, no prob. You're not in the mirror. No.
Yeah.
And then
that would have been that's a great way to kind of shoehorn both of those things in, because the book is kind of open-ended too, like in how why would it just be a random yard sale? Like,
I kind of like it because you can play with a little bit of destiny, and it's also like no one else believes that those things are real, so why do we care about this book?
Right. That's true.
And then I just kind of want the kids to just have adventures defeating the monsters, but then not really defeating them.
Yeah. Like what kids' terms would be in defeating them, right? Like what you would think of, like, oh, we stopped the bad guy, we locked him up in the closet, or
like literally it could be that, like getting the mummy stuck in the closet is up. He's back in a mummy's tomb.
Yes, exactly.
His just new tomb happens to be a closet, and then like the mummy comes out later, and like whatever wrapping, gauze, bandages. Thank you. Whatever bandages had been there are now replaced with like socks and sweaters.
Yeah, that could be a fun visual.
Mummy had to rewrap him or herself up.
Yeah, put it, or they do the gag where they pull him apart.
Yeah,
he winds up in a closet, and then that's his new bandages in that like really bad, like I have an OP shirt holding my leg together.
Yeah,
or,
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
and I also just like the idea of, all right, you have Mummy's bandages. Those are probably magic somehow.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. That's just something I might put in my pocket for later use.
Yeah, there you go. That one's on your own.
Yeah,
on
interesting.
Your own dime. I don't remember any magic bandages. What are you talking about?
And then we kind of talked about how, like, the twist of the book, and I just thought that it should just be, like, kind of a series of them fighting monsters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that actually lives up to the name a little bit more than what is in it.
I mean, in my head, it's a little bit more a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, really.
They're a monster squad. They're going and solving mysteries.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's what they kind of should start out as. This whole formation of like
they're going and investigating the creepy house with the weird guy living inside.
Yeah, exactly. I just think,
or in my case, the weird woman living inside.
Oh, okay. Well, either or.
There aren't that many women in this movie.
No, there aren't.
And I already cut one of them.
Oh,
the sister.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I left the sister in, but not as the sister.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was a little weird.
It's odd.
Yeah.
What was the deal with Dracula kept saying, "Hand me the amulet. Hand me the amulet." Why didn't he just, take it? Was there a rule that was it like a vampire cannot cross the threshold without being let inside? The vampire cannot take something; it has to be given to them.
I don't know. I've never heard of any rule like that, and they really, really play fast and loose with some of the vampire lore. But I assumed it was that he had to be handed the amulet.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would... But they never...
he found it, but never touch
it. Yeah. And they never explain it. They just leave it wide. Other than maybe he left it wide in the open for everybody to be on display or something. But yeah, I know there was no specific thing that was like, oh, it must be presented to him or handed to him in order to take it, right?
I think that's more interesting.
It definitely is. And same thing with like they play the vampire's entrance in Buffy very well. Of like, you're safe here because you have to be invited in, right? Like, right. I think there's a lot of kind of lore that you can go back to with all of these characters.
Yeah, I think you should lean into all the lore,
big time.
Like what's the Eastern European concept of vampires is that they all are obsessive compulsive. So you scatter rice in front of them and they have to count it.
They have to count it, and then there's a couple other things along those lines too. That
vampires in particular have a lot, but I kind of I want this movie to kind of be like, all right, well, I bet you didn't know about this one because the kids know.
Right.
I want the kids to know weird facts that I don't know. Yeah. I want them to know crazy random shit about Wolfman and Mummy.
Yeah. Tracking the moon cycle type thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Mummy of he's, when they mummify him, they take part of the intestine out or whatever, so we can use that against him.
Put the hook in the nose and pull everything out. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's a good one. I like the idea of they have a sleepover once a month, and they always have a sleepover on the full moon because they don't actually sleep. They go on Wolfman patrol.
Oh, that's a really cool idea, actually. And that gets you right into it too. That gets you right into. You immediately know who these kids are. Instead of getting scolded for drawing weird ass.
And I don't necessarily think they need to be inducting Rudy at the beginning. I think he can be in the club. He's the cool kid, but once a month he's there because he believes in this stuff too. Because he's absolutely on board.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Because otherwise he's just the kid that's 3 or 4 years older, just hanging out with the children, just so he can scope on the girl across the street.
Exactly. Peep on the. Yeah.
The one thing we haven't really talked about is Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
This is a side note, but do you want to know why Frankenstein looked the way Frankenstein looked?
In that particular, in Monster Squad, sure.
Yeah. So all of the original monster movies, the description of the monsters is based on the books that those monsters are created in.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no description of the monster in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Right.
So the original concept for Frankenstein is basically made up for the Universal movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want to have a Frankenstein's monster with the flat head, the green skin, the scars, and the neck bolts, that's 7 feet tall. If you want him to look like that, you have to pay Universal.
Okay.
But if you only want it to be part of those things, then it's okay.
Interesting.
So in this movie, his skin is not green, and the bolts are not in his neck.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have the flat top hair either.
Right.
He's bald.
Yeah.
Which was a good choice.
I agree.
So I did not know that it's like a likeness thing then.
Mm-hmm. And since I'm assuming this is not a Universal movie, otherwise he would have looked like that.
So my question is though, and I don't know the ins and outs of all the production on this, but all the other monsters in the Monster Squad are Universal characters. Right.
They're Universal characters. But you can make any Vampire, Wolfman, whatever movie you want, and it doesn't have to be owned by Universal because it is based on the open source original books.
Understood. Okay, I wasn't sure what the rights situation was with it. I just assumed that it was a Universal...
No.
Or that they licensed them, because you do have the Dracula with the pendant and the cape.
But that is probably as he was described in Dracula.
Interesting. Okay.
Frankenstein's the only one that Universal has... for lack of a better term, their claws in.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah. So the Boris Karloff... Is it Boris Karloff? I think it's Boris Karloff.
I think that's right.
Yeah. That Frankenstein they own. Good to know. Yeah. Maybe there's a Frankenstein movie in my future.
Well, I had to look it up for my movie.
Oh, well.
But no, I mean, because I have a Frankenstein's monster in my movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look it up because that's something you need to be aware of. Unless you're planning on selling your movie to Universal, and they already had their Dark World fail twice.
Yes, miserably.
Yeah. That said, Universal, if you're listening, mine's pretty good. And it's fun, which is what yours are missing, because that's what people want. It's fine. It's not important. It's a good script. Everyone should love it.
Everyone will love it, Sam. You'll see.
It is one of the scripts that I sent into the Jordan Peele thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But with that in mind, is there anything... So we didn't really talk about Frankenstein. Dracula refers to him as his old friend.
Yes.
And then he immediately turns on Dracula. Like, he never once tries to hurt the kids.
No.
Which I'm okay with, because part of the whole story of Frankenstein is he is with a little girl and then kills her on accident or gets killed somehow. And, like, he just likes being with kids because they don't necessarily judge him.
Well, that's it. I mean, in the original film with Boris Karloff, as we've established, it was an accident. It was not on purpose, and it was just I think what they tell you in film school is it was his way of identifying with somebody on the same level, right? Like, children don't judge him; they aren't afraid of him, and he's a mute. He can't talk. And it's what little left emotion he has from being dead, right?
Right.
So I just assumed it was that, and that he didn't know his own strength.
Yeah.
Accident.
But that's the sort of thing where, like, against adults, he's a monster. But for kids, like, literally, Frankenstein's weakness can be children.
It can be. And especially...
And fire.
Well, that goes without saying. Which is one thing they didn't use in this one. I was surprised.
Fire?
There was no fire.
They didn't need to. He was on their side.
That's true. They could use it to get him on his side. But I feel like...
or, like, one of the kids can try it, and then the little girl's like, no, he's my friend.
Yeah, or...
And that moment where she throws scraps at him, and he has this little doll as he's getting sucked into hell, I legitimately love that moment.
Yeah, it was a very sweet moment. It was a very sweet moment, for sure. I agree. I feel like because Frankenstein is a dead person, right? Like, there has to be some sort of...
He's basically a zombie.
Yeah. Basically, there has to be some sort of person left in him, and I feel like there could be a lot of fun turning him from that dumpster outside.
Yes,
to but a lot of fun turning him from Dracula's side.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that can be their second or third adventure, just like taming Frankenstein's monster.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it would be, and I feel like there would be a genuine Scooby-Doo moment of them all running away, and then there's the one that kind of figures it out and figures out how to communicate with him, and then they bond, and it's almost like a pet in a weird way.
Yeah, a
big, strong, dead pet, but
best kind.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love big, strong, dead pets? That? I mean, come on. They're great. They cuddle on your lap, and then they break your furniture. But
Frankie
did it again. But yeah, that could be a fun way of bringing Frank back, or Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah,
back.
I'm just gonna keep calling him Frankenstein. It's easier.
Yeah, Frankenstein. Yeah.
There's a meme going around like that I saw a while ago where it's like someone writes in on the last page of like the Frankenstein book. It's like, and as Frankenstein drifted into the distance, he shouted back, "It's cool if you just call me Frankenstein. I don't mind." Yeah,
I've seen that as well. It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, it's good.
Good stuff.
But yeah, so I think that's kind of what we want in terms of what this movie should be. Do you want to get into casting?
Yeah, we can get into casting. Absolutely.
Right. Where do you want to start? The kids or the monsters?
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I started with the monsters because they're kind of the show, right?
I agree.
Like, I feel like that's where you would kind of spend your money on casting wise, is seeing some of these people.
I do and don't agree with that. Most of my casting is pretty obscure. I think I have one kind of A-list person.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Because I cut the creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay. So I really have 4 monsters. Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, and Frankenstein's monster.
Okay. Yeah, we can cut the creature. I didn't have anybody. He's a rubber monster at the end of the day. Right? It's marginal who's behind the mask. But,
so it's with the... Oh, that's not true. I have 2, because Dracula is 2. So I've got 2 people you'd recognize. And that's Dracula. But then, like, for Wolfman, Mummy, and Frankenstein's monster, what I did was I did kind of legendary stuntman and, like, creature performers.
Cool.
So I can kind of talk about them as a group. Why don't you tell me about your selections for Wolfman, Mummy, and Frankenstein's monster?
Okay, without Drac, right?
Without Drac.
Okay.
We'll do Drac last.
Cool. So for Wolfman, I had chosen kind of a character actor, Christopher Maloney.
Oh, okay, cool. Tell me about Christopher Maloney.
So he's been in a few things. He's kind of more of a military kind of clean cut guy, but recently he is in the TV show Happy, which if you have not seen, I strongly recommend. That is such a fun show.
Spell Maloney.
Meloni.
Yeah, I spelled that way wrong.
In that, he's like a grizzled, disgruntled cop.
Oh, I love this actor.
Yes, he's got the timing down.
Well, because he was in, what was the show that he was in for years and years and years? Law and Order SVU.
Was it SVU? I can't remember which Law and Order, but yeah, he's got the comedic chops to land some of these.
Yeah, well, I first saw him in an episode of Scrubs.
Yes, yeah,
and he's just the guy with the puppets, and it's weird and it's so funny. And he's able to play the straight man very, very well. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot.
Agreed. And I feel like he'd be a perfect kind of... I mean, in a way, Wolfman is bipolar, right?
Absolutely.
It's the light and the dark argument, right? So I felt that he plays both really, really well. He was amazing in Happy. I have to give it another plug because it's such a fun show. And I felt like he would be good both under makeup and as the human who's flipping out. I'm a Wolfman.
I mean, he's also in the summer camp movie.
Oh, yeah. Wet Hot
American Summer.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
He's insane in that movie.
He is insane in that movie.
And he's great.
Like, well played insane, too.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Got the crazy eyes.
All right, cool. So I like Christopher Maloney. Talk to me about your Mummy.
My Mummy, I was on the fence on how we would do it in... modern terms. Would it be a CG monster? Would it be a puppet? Would it be a puppeteer? So for me, I threw Andy Serkis's name in and as a performer. Got it. For the Mummy, and it's kind of, I guess, depends on the execution. Yeah. But for him, it would be I put Andy Serkis in.
Got it. I like it. Interesting. Cool. And then for Frankenstein's monster.
For Frankenstein's monster, I had David Harbour.
Tell me about David Harbour.
David Harbour he is going to be Hellboy next year. And he looks great under the makeup. A big, beefy dude. His big claim to fame is Stranger Things. He is the sheriff, and his character's name escapes me right now. The sheriff on Stranger Things.
I was spelling Harbour wrong as well. Yeah. But got it. All right.
So he's got an interesting look. He's a big dude, chiseled jaw. I think it'd be great under all that makeup.
Cool. I like it. And then I just misspelled his name again, writing it down. Awesome. All right. I like that. Let me tell you about my three. Okay. So for Wolfman and Mummy, I kind of cast these two stuntmen. So one of them is this guy named Douglas Tate. He's who I had for the Wolfman. Let me pull up his image. Okay. Douglas Tate. And he's also going to be in the new Hellboy.
Oh, okay.
And
I have seen him.
He's one of those people who you have seen before, but he's kind of like the kind of weirdo in the background kind of thing. And so I kind of wanted a stunt person because I wanted these monsters to be doing, monster things.
Right. Super physical activities.
Yeah. So he's the one that I kind of recognized, but this is the guy I recognized more. For the Mummy, I cast Derek Mears, who is in... he was in Men in Black. Okay. He's in the new... I keep doing that. Predators movie.
Oh, is he... he was Jason once, wasn't he?
Yes, he is in Friday the 13th.
Ah, the remake. Okay.
And he is... I think he's like the first creator in Prometheus.
Okay. Right on.
And so I think between those two, I probably would go with Christopher Maloney for Wolfman because you need to do that back and forth. Yeah. But I still think I would go with Derek Mears for... I'm sorry.
For Mummy?
For Mummy. Derek Mears for Mummy, and then Christopher Maloney for Wolfman. Yes. Is what I would do.
I agree with that.
As much as I love Andy Serkis.
Right. But in this movie, the Mummy's kind of a marginal character.
You want kind of the one who can do, as you said, the mummy lurch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And he's got this creepy, menacing look that just... Derek Mears,
Yeah.
rather, has this creepy, menacing look that just knocks it out of the park. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you won't need too much makeup. No offense to him. That's a
just,
great look.
Just got to wrap him up.
Yeah, exactly.
But then let's talk about Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
So I have my original person, and I actually do have a backup because my original person is 70 years old.
Oh, wow.
My original casting is this actor named Karel Stoichen.
Wow, he looks a lot like Peter Cushing.
And he's 7 feet tall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I recognize him because he's the really tall guy in Men in Black.
Yes, I see. He was Lurch in the Addams Family.
And he was Lurch in the Addams Family.
Great.
Yeah.
Frankenstein in Addams Family.
So the reason why I wouldn't go with him is because he's 70 years old and I don't want him to die.
Well, yes.
I mean, he's been acting in things recently. He's in there's post-production for a movie that comes out in 2020 that he was just in. I mean, he's clearly still doing stuff.
Sure, and Frankenstein doesn't require a lot.
No.
It's lumbering for the most part, right?
But I felt like I had to mention him because he's obviously great and has done this sort of thing before.
Yeah, he's great.
But then my backup was also a incredibly tall actor. He's an actor named Ian White, who is 7 feet 1 inches tall. He is also extremely tall, and he also does character monster makeups and everything. Like, I think this is him in Predator.
Oh, okay.
As the Predator. And this is him in other crazy makeup and
big
things.
Special
effects roles. He's the giant in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
In Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Oh, he's in Rogue One?
Yeah, he's in Rogue One. He's like a puppeteer, and he's like one of the monsters and everything.
I see.
And he's the one in Prometheus. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
He's the last engineer in Prometheus.
The other guy really looked like it.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that if we could get Karel Struiken, he's the right one to get.
Okay.
Because he basically is that.
Yeah, he just needs some basic makeup.
Yeah, and if we're already dealing with a low budget movie, which they were last time,
probably will be.
That's why I think, like, for the monsters, you get the people who can really be the monsters.
I see what you mean. And like my choice,
I love David Harbour.
My choice in David Harbour was I kind of feel like he's the next Ron Perlman in that he's a good tough guy. He's got the chiseled jaw, but he's also really good performing under makeup. A really good lead under makeup. Got it.
Well, then do you want to make him the Wolfman? Because the Wolfman's the one that kind of has to be scary and fierce.
Yeah.
And theoretically, Frankenstein, needs to start scary and fierce and then becomes a teddy bear.
Yeah, which I feel like he does well.
Okay.
And especially in Stranger Things, when he's, spoilers, but
yeah.
he shows a lot of his tender side, especially in the second season. He's really kind of opens up, and he's no longer this hardened...
So if that's something that you're passionate about, like, no, it really should be David Harbour, then I'm happy to listen to you.
Yeah, I do feel passionate about that one.
David Harbour it is. Christopher Maloney, David Harbour, and Derek Mears. Which brings us to our Dracula.
Okay.
So I went female for this.
Mm-hmm.
I had a star who has done comedy, because I originally know her from Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Okay.
But she also has been in several seasons of American Horror Story.
Oh.
I cast Sarah Paulson.
Okay. I know Sarah Paulson, yeah.
And she's a fantastic actress, a wonderful comedian, and also kind of like has the look of someone who would have been sacrificed when they were the virgin 100 years ago, and now is like, oh no, I'm about to kick some ass.
Mm-hmm.
And so wasn't the idea I had going into it when I cast her, but I also just kind of thought she'd be fun to like be the person totally in control. Because I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So, Sarah Paulson.
Okay.
And also she almost ran me over once.
Oh, well, that's good that she didn't.
Yeah. Well, so like I always put down like the person and then like what they know for in case I forget what they're known for in case I forget. So I put Sarah Paulson, Studio 60, American Horror Story, almost running over Sam. in Hollywood at the Ralph's on Sunset. Like I'm just like walking and then I'd have been paying attention. Then all of a sudden it just like there's a car there. I'm like and then like I'm okay. Sarah Paulson's like, you're okay. And I'm like, I'm okay. And then I like walk past and she takes off. See? I think it was her.
Missed connection. Had you hit her, maybe you'd be...
No. She almost hit me.
Oh, sorry. Did I say that wrong? I did. Had she hit you, it could have been...
a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, it could be while you were sleeping or something. You know?
I don't like this at all. All right, so tell me who you had for Dracula.
So for Drac, I liked the idea. The original casting he's hamming it up so much, and he's so cheesy, and he's kind of clearly not, like, he thinks he's in control, but he's not in control of these other monsters. Like, he's really not. And
he needs the silver head on the cane in order to control Wolfman.
Yeah, and Wolfman defies him. You know, like, he doesn't. There's no love for Dracula, really. Like, he just thinks he's in control, and that feeds into what we were talking about earlier. In, like, the real big bad would be this virgin who was sucked through in the beginning.
So you would have both.
I would have both.
Oh.
So for me, I had cast Bill Hader as Dracula.
Sure.
To bumble his way through it, and we think he's the villain all the way through, and then comes out at the end what they were trying to summon by opening this thing is the virgin who hasn't aged. And for that I cast I'm gonna butcher her name, Chloe Grace Moritz.
Yep, I know the actress.
Yes,
and I think you pronounced that right, Chloe Grace Moretz.
I think so.
Sure, why not?
I may have butchered
We'll live with it.
But that's who I had as the kind of two vampire
I
roles.
like that.
I mean, had the story gone that way.
Yeah, I'm 100% for that. I love Bill Hader. I would absolutely make Bill Hader our Dracula and then make Sarah Paulson like the puppet master, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
In classic movie monster terms, what would her character name be?
Oh, boy. I mean, well, there's Vampress, right? Or Vampira.
But she doesn't necessarily need to be a vampire if she's just like the Dark Lord controlling all of them.
Sure.
She could literally just be Satan.
Could be.
But I don't think that's as fun.
No, I mean, Mephisto or something.
Mephisto's good.
That's a cool...
Let's make Sarah Paulson Mephisto and Dracula Bill Hader.
Okay. Or Mephisto. I don't know.
It depends what culture you're in.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. It depends on what part of the world it is.
All right, cool. So that's our monsters. So then, let's talk about the kids. The kids were tough.
Kids were tough for me, too.
I only had 4 kids. Sean, the club leader, Horace, the fat kid, Rudy, the cool kid, and Phoebe, the little sister.
Okay.
And full disclosure, for Phoebe, the little sister, I said, some actual child to be found at the time.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought there. I left her open-ended. She is necessary to the plot.
100%, and I think it's important that you have a club like this, you have kind of the little sister who just wants to be with her big brother.
Right, wants to be part of the gang.
And I love that.
Yeah, it's so enduring.
And I also love that she's the one who tames Frankenstein. So I have a Frankenstein. I can be in the club now, right?
Yeah.
I love that moment.
That's
a wonderful thing, and I think we should keep it. And so I just don't know who to cast for that because I don't want to go through a pile of 5-year-old little girl headshots.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Not unless I was being paid as a casting agent.
Yeah,
it's like
it's deeply uncomfortable making.
It is. It really is. So I left that one open, and I feel like yes, child to be cast at time of production.
TBD.
Yeah. So I am fine cutting. Yeah. The other little kid with the beagle.
Tell me who you had for the kid.
I didn't.
Oh,
I left him open-ended as well.
He has a beagle?
Yeah, he's the one with the dog, the little kid.
Oh,
he has the dog. It's a beagle.
That was weird. That served no purpose.
No, it served no purpose. But the dog was cute because he looks like my dog. So
yeah,
I was excited.
I mean, it was a dog. I'm always a fan of the dog.
Yeah,
dogs can be in every movie as far as I'm concerned.
The dog was a better character than the kid. So.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, cut that kid too.
Yeah, so that kid's out.
So that leaves us with 3: Sean, Horace, and Rudy.
Okay.
Who do you want to start with?
Sean was the leader, right?
Yeah. Actually, let's do Sean last because that'll lead into casting for his parents.
Oh, good point. Okay.
So let's start with Rudy, the cool kid.
All right. So for Rudy, the cool kid, I cast Owen Teague from It.
Okay. You're gonna love my casting.
Yeah, I looked at, because unfortunately, like the cool kid doesn't really exist anymore.
Sure doesn't. I looked at this kid.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think he's like 17 though.
Well, I mean.
Owen.
And see,
he is 20 years old.
He does not look it.
Yeah, no.
All right, fair enough.
But you will like this because both kids that I have, other than Sean, are from It.
Oh, okay. Well,
so my Rudy is Chosen Jacobs.
Oh, okay. Chosen Jacobs.
Who, I think he's 17. No, he can't be. How old is this kid?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's 17. So because he's the cool kid, I allowed myself to do that, but he's also a little bit older.
Sure.
But I also pulled from it.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, that's kind of the...
Yeah, I mean, you can't cast the Stranger Kids things in Stranger Things again.
Pretty much, yeah.
And these are the child actors who are familiar with horror and would probably be pretty good at it.
Exactly.
I mean, pulling from that roster is good.
I agree. I agree.
I think I 100% agree with your decision. It was awesome.
Okay. I like yours better, though.
Okay.
Like, I feel like Chosen Jacobs is a good... I looked at him for Sean, actually.
Oh, interesting.
So
I like it. Then let's talk about Horace. Because I cast from it, I had Jeremy Ray Taylor.
Ah, interesting. I also had Jeremy Taylor, but in the name of going a little more diverse, I had cast A. Patrick.
Oh, who is A. Patrick?
Not A. Patrick, I'm sorry. The character Patrick was the other replaceable white kid.
Oh.
I cast him as Hudson Yang from Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh.
Who he's pretty hilarious. He's got the chops. I don't know if he would be pretty good in either role, actually, as a fat kid or
Hudson Yang. He is 15 currently. At this moment, he'd probably be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in favor of more diversity. Let's go with Hudson Yang.
Okay. Yeah, he's funny. He's so funny too.
And his name does not need to be Fat Kid because
no,
obviously, this child is not overweight, but also it's just more interesting to have diversity.
Sure. But I also went that direction as well as Jeremy. Because Jeremy Taylor in it was fantastic. Yeah. That kid can knock it out of the park. Like,
I mean, and if we need a fourth kid, he's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in terms of, I think Chosen Jacobs, Hudson Yang are good choices, especially because this kid has comedy and will want some comedy.
Exactly.
Good. So then that does bring us to Sean. My Sean is a child actor named Anthony Gonzalez.
Okay.
Who is the voice of the kid in Coco.
Oh, okay.
And he also has other live action acting things as well. Okay. But he is...
I'm not familiar with him.
Anthony Gonzalez?
Oh, okay.
Look at this kid. Look at this earnest face.
Super enduring.
Look how upset he would be at his little sister.
That's true. I can definitely see him.
And so I actually think that makes him the youngest of all of them. But I'm comfortable with that, especially if that makes him the leader, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's got spunk.
He's in Shameless. He's in Icebox, Imagine If You're Young. He's in Criminal Minds.
Oh, okay.
Like, he is fresh, but then obviously Coco's amazing.
Yes, yeah. And he's he's around. He's been around long enough to do, I mean, if he's in Criminal Minds, for God's sake.
He must be.
Yeah, he must be.
But I cast him also with an eye towards diversity.
So I did that as well for Sean, and that actually leads into how we cast the parents as well.
Okay.
Because I went for a more diverse angle, and I cast Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things, who is Lucas in Stranger Things. I feel like that kid's got charisma. He's definitely a leader, and I thought it would be fun to give him some of those lines.
Well, then that just affects how we cast the parents.
Exactly.
So let's talk about who we have for the parents. And then we'll probably just take the three of them as a group.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of how I was hoping we would do it.
So go ahead.
For the parents, if we cast Caleb McLaughlin, I mean, we'll have to. For the dad, I cast my old buddy Sam Richardson from Veep, and has been in Detroiters, and just an all around good guy. Super funny, one of the funniest guys I've ever known. And then for Emily, his mom, I cast Tiffany Haddish, who's equally hilarious. And given more screen time, I feel like those two would be amazing together.
I agree, and I also flipped their roles. I made I would make the mom the cop.
Oh, okay.
And the dad the stay-at-home whatever.
Stay-at-home dad.
But also the person who sits on the roof and watches the horror movie with the kid. Like that was a wonderful moment.
It really was.
But also like the kid's making a real fuss to go see this movie, and they can just sit on the roof and watch the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean. it's part of the experience, right?
And it's going to hang out with friends. It's not necessarily seeing the movie. It's seeing it with friends. But also, it's like the dad's the one who would like the ones at home believes the kid, does the thing, does other stuff, and then the mom's out just like, no, we got
problems.
We got stuff's
happening. I had
happening.
to shoot a guy.
I had to kill a guy.
Yeah,
was not okay.
Yeah. He's screaming about being a wolf.
Yeah, like he had a gun. Like he literally stole a gun from a police officer and was starting to pull the trigger. I had to do it first.
And I feel like there's something to be said there as well. If we do go that route, and the mom is more of the straight cop and the dad is kind of the stay at home. Maybe the dad then is feeding into like, you know, maybe that's their thing is they watch monster movies together.
Yeah, and that's why maybe it's the dad that goes to the yard sale.
Yeah, and so it's kind of more on the dad's radar, and it's more plausible that, hey, maybe there is a mummy walking around. You know,
Absolutely.
maybe there is a freaking Dracula, you know?
Sure.
Like, why not? Whereas the mom is more grounded and centrist and, you know, kind of like, no, there's real crime.
Yeah, no, a car was stolen. I have to find out who did that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Screw your creature from the Black Lagoon. Like,
yeah.
You know.
To the point where, like, if there's literally a creature from the Black Lagoon and she just, like, accidentally runs it over.
Yeah.
Oh, another moment I really liked was, like, the police officers, like, going down the road and then, like, the Dracula's car just goes through them and they're just like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to say a word. That was a great moment.
That was a really fun moment.
Just weird shit's going on, and I just liked it.
Yeah, it was a really fun moment. I think that was a great reaction, especially after letting out a scream like that.
Yeah.
That's a great reaction. So yeah, that's who I cast as the parents if we went with Caleb McLaughlin.
My parents, the dad I have is Santiago Cabrera.
I'm not familiar with him.
I know. Specifically cast some lesser known actors.
Okay.
I know Santiago Cabrera best because he is the painter in Heroes.
Oh, okay.
And he's great.
Oh, Big Little Lies as well. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's known for now. And he's also in Transformers The Last Night. I'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good movie.
No, it is not. I think the world moved on.
Yeah, and then Cote de Pablo?
Okay.
Cote de Pablo is the name of this actress.
Oh, yeah.
She has been on NCIS for like 11 years.
Yes.
And so that's why I was like, oh, she'd probably be really good for the mom.
Agreed.
And
her I do know. Her I do recognize. So.
I mean, I for these kids that we actually probably could mix and match a little bit, depending.
We could.
Like, I went a little bit less known just because it's what the movie did originally, and I also wanted to pull in the diversity. And I thought that these parents would both work for Anthony Gonzalez's parents.
Right. So and I cast the exact same way.
Same thing. So then with that in mind, say the name of your kid again.
Sean's name is Caleb McLaughlin.
Okay, Caleb McLaughlin probably has more screen experience than Anthony Gonzalez. So I think we should go with Caleb McLaughlin.
Okay.
And then I would just take your dad and my mom.
Okay, yeah.
Would that work?
That would work perfectly, yeah.
Okay.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
And in terms of casting, the only other person we haven't talked about is the scary German neighbor.
Okay. So I also cast the detective, his partner, as well.
Fair.
So I just threw Jake Johnson in there because I feel like they would be great together. And then I cast a Van Helsing because I was hoping that we would, have that moment at the end where he comes and helps us.
Okay, fine. Who do you have for Van Helsing?
Yeah. In the sake of horrible remakes and cameos, and considering...
I swear to God, if it's Nicolas Cage.
Nope, it's not Nicolas Cage.
Although Nicolas Cage would actually work now that I'm saying it out
loud.
loud.
I know. No, I cast Arnold Schwarzenegger because I thought it would be hilarious.
Why?
Because it would be funny. I don't know.
We can do better.
We can do better. But I thought it was like, it's a throwback to an 80s movie. He's an 80s guy. He came in leading a team in Germany. What more do you need?
We can do better.
Yeah. I'm sure Nicolas Cage would be better, but...
I'm not sold on Nicolas Cage either. Let's give this some thought and let's come back to it at the end. Because I think we can do better than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm sure we can. But it was a last thought on the way over here.
Yeah, got it. All right, that's fair. I like it.
But
let's talk about Scary German Neighbor, who I'm sure has a name, but it's not important.
No, actually, he is cast as Scary German Neighbor. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it. I have Jane Lynch.
Oh, she's perfect.
Because it's fun for funsies, can be scary, and then also like turn that off real quick.
Can be intense, yeah.
Yeah, and so I thought that would be fun, and she also probably would have fun with the German accent.
Exactly. For me, I had Anthony Hopkins, who is also equally scary, and hasn't been seen in a while.
Anthony Hopkins should be Van Helsing.
I'm open for that. That would be amazing.
Like you CGI him up at the beginning, and then it's because then if you age up the little girl to make it Sarah Paulson, Van Helsing ages too, and it's Anthony Hopkins. Let's do that.
Sure.
So we got Anthony Hopkins, and then we'll do Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch is perfect. I was hoping for a bigger laugh with Arnold. Didn't get it.
No. Sorry. He's a little bit tainted.
He is, but for the cheese factor.
Oh, yeah. Cheese factor he's there for. But we're not making the Expendables.
No, we're not. We're really not.
And because at the same time, we want the cheese factor, but we also kind of want it to be like earnest fun.
Right.
Like, I would put Arnold Schwarzenegger in a remake of Predator.
Yes, yeah. And that's the direction I was going. He used to make stupid movies like this. Yeah. So, yeah.
I've seen Running Man. I know what's going on.
Yeah. Running Man is... Whew, that's another one that's... Not even the one-liners are good.
No. Anyway,
yeah.
So that brings us to our writer and director, or director and writer as I wrote it.
Okay.
But before we do that, I'm going to just have a brief rundown of some of the things that didn't make it in that I think need to be addressed.
Oh.
So, like, I'd said, like, some of the bad lines, like, everything's homophobic. Rape imagery isn't great. They seriously just killed the one black guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the moment where Dracula's holding up this 5-year-old girl, and he calls her a bitch.
Yeah, that was
I'm
bit like...
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
That's deeply unacceptable.
That was good. There was a lot of moments that were like, that's too far for this movie. Like, I mean, it's too far, period. But like, it just, man. And all of those moments are definite moments that I feel like needed to be addressed. Yeah. Especially when like in the beginning, when the bully's kind of beating on the fat kid. And he I mean, I'm not going to say the word, but he calls him like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Like,
he says a very bad word a few times.
Like, it just, man.
It's not okay.
No, it's not. I mean...
And then I asked where Van Helsing... Because I was watching this movie, and then Van Helsing just shows up, and how on earth does he know about giving a thumbs up?
That one I was... And that's where the cheese factor with Schwarzenegger came in. I thought it would be like, oh, well, I mean, if it's a smiling guy who just comes out of the portal and gives a thumbs up, I
would have been on board if it had been referenced at all in the movie at all once.
Right. I understand.
If it was like, well, no, I'm trying to make this word cool, or I'm like, no, well, thumbs up is last year. Let's do a new thing.
Yeah.
And he did the thing that the kid had been doing, something like that.
Or the thing that they was doing last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be cheesy.
Like that.
Yeah.
Something.
Or even something that they were trying to teach Frankenstein to do. Because there's a lot of super cool moments in this movie that they're trying to, like, modernize Frankenstein. There's a lot of fun moments like that. But yeah. Anyway, it was bad.
Yeah. Anyway, writer and director. Do you want to start with writer or do you want to start with director?
We could start with writer.
Okay. My writer is Paul King.
Okay.
I picked him because he wrote Paddington 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he did The Mighty Boosh, and he's written a bunch of other things too. And I don't think it's as difficult to be as familiar with kind of like the classic movie monsters. Mm-hmm. I think that it's possible to research that. But I think what's more important is capturing the earnestness of a movie for kids.
Exactly.
And just true, legitimate joy and wonder. And that's what I think the Paddington movies were able to do.
Completely agree, yeah.
And then you take something like The Mighty Boosh, and you just take something like... and then having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I love the Paddington movies, and there are moments of legitimate comedy, make it a little like take something like this and give it those same kind of moments of comedy. That's I kind of think what we need.
I agree. I feel like this movie kind of needs to be endearing on multiple levels. Mm-hmm. But the charm is at the center with the kids. Okay. Right? Absolutely. For me, I chose a writing team that has been handling properties similar to this. If we're going to have a monster squad where we have a Dracula and a Frankenstein's monster and a creature, and then balance all these other characters as well, I thought the Russo brothers did really well with the Avengers films. Okay. And on a big budget scale, especially like a remake like this, they would probably be the ones that you would go to.
Probably. You want the big crossover movie.
Right.
You do go to the Russo brothers.
Right. And I felt like they would be good at penning a script like this that's both enduring to kids and also managing the monsters.
Okay.
Because that's what those movies do.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's fun. Okay, let's go with the Russo brothers.
Sure.
Now talk to me about your director.
So I went back and forth on who would direct this, like who would be a good person to kind of manage this madness. And I'm not 100% married to him either.
All right.
But I think
you'll like who I have, but
probably. I think Drew Goddard would probably make a decent director on this movie.
Drew Goddard's a good choice. Tell me tell the audience about some of the things Drew Goddard has done.
So Drew Goddard came from the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was a writer, and did he direct a few episodes of Buffy?
Wasn't he a cast member? No.
Was he a cast member? No, he was a writer.
I'm thinking of the guy from I'm thinking of Jonathan, who went on to direct or write Empire.
Yeah. No, not him.
No, he was definitely here's a picture of him with Joss Whedon.
Right. And in terms of...
that's for Cabin in the Woods, but still.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to go to. In terms of direction, Cabin in the Woods was actually a pretty close thing to what we're doing with Monster Squad, but more horror genre, right? So what they did with Cabin in the Woods was they took all of these horror tropes and they made a movie out of it based around all of these monsters. Like in the beginning, the break into the second act is zombies coming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
I've read it.
Yeah. So I've read it too. It's a good script, actually.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, it was really...
I have a hard time watching horror movies, so I couldn't watch it, but I had to read it.
I see what you mean. Yeah, and it's a fun read.
I read it as research for my movie The Horrors.
That's a good one. I read it for research as well.
Good.
But yeah, I feel like he was really good at managing the madness in that, and also managing the monsters as well.
I like it.
There was just enough in that movie,
Interesting.
And he was good at payoffs too. At the end with the unicorn and the man and the man with the merman.
I just want more merman. Stab.
Yeah, exactly. So it was that's my choice. I'm not married to him, but I feel like he would do a good job with it.
And the more you talk about it, the more you're talking yourself into it.
Yeah.
Except here's the thing. My director's Andy Serkis.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I was biting my tongue a little bit earlier when you wanted him for
the Mummy.
For the Mummy.
Yeah.
And I didn't write it down. Well, A, because I'll remember Andy Serkis, and B, because I want him to direct.
Right.
And because especially, I've heard that the new Jungle Book thing he did is good.
Yes.
But we're not going to watch it, because why would we? But he is, and he also directed parts of The Lord of the Rings. Like, he was kind of like the second unit director.
Right.
And he can do comedy, and he will know how to do creatures.
Exactly.
Like, he can direct the creatures and the monsters, I think, probably better than anyone.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And he now has experience working with kids. With the new Jungle Book movie.
Yes. I keep forgetting that. Yeah. Sorry.
It's fine.
To be fair, did anybody watch it?
No. But
okay.
we're not going to.
All right. Yeah, I know.
But but that's kind of the idea of what he's capable of doing. Like, he can work with kids. He did work with kids. And by all accounts, it is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a script and a publicity issue more than it is an issue likely with the direction.
With the director, right.
Because I do think he's a super interesting, compelling person. He makes interesting choices. And that's what I think we would want for a movie like this.
Yeah.
It's Andy Serkis.
I agree completely. And you want to talk about monster management.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Absolutely.
So I agree.
So while Drew Goddard is lovely.
Yes, he's a fine person, but let's go with Andy Serkis, because I feel like he is the right person. I didn't even think of him in terms of a director, and shame on me. I should have.
It's a changing world out there.
It really is. I've got to keep up with it.
All right, but I believe that completes our cast. Let me do a rundown. To play our club leader, we have Sean as Caleb McLaughlin as Sean. Our cool kid is Chosen Jacobs. Horace is played by Hudson Yang. And if we need a fourth kid, we'll throw in Jeremy Ray Taylor, but probably not.
Probably not.
The part of Phoebe will be played by TBD. Sean's dad is going to be Sam Richardson. Sean's mom will be Cota de Pablo. Her partner is going to be Jake Johnson. And the scary German neighbor will be Jane Lynch. Our monsters will be stopped by Van Helsing, who is Anthony Hopkins. And our mummy is going to be Derek Mears. Our Wolfman is going to be Christopher Maloney. Our Frankenstein's monster is going to be David Harbour. Our Dracula will be Bill Hader, but they will all be manipulated by our Mephisto in the form of Sarah Paulson. All of this is going to be written by the Russo brothers and then directed by Andy Serkis. The creature from the Black Lagoon will be floating upside down in its bowl.
Yes.
That is our Monster Squad.
Sounds like a remake I want to see.
Set at Christmas. Because the first one wasn't. But it's a Shane Black movie. So it's set at Christmas.
So it has to be set at Christmas.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that we got to take from every other script is set at Christmas. So
100%. Cool.
All right. Sounds good.
You gonna go see it?
I would see this, actually. I would. It would be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun little flick. And I feel like it's something that could probably come back now and be insanely popular with everything that's going on with the Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, the dark universe, like Universal's missing out. They could absolutely.
All they need is something fun. Marvel, reach out to me. I have the script. It's ready to go.
See, I do too. And
we're fighting about it.
We might be in competition here.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Uh-oh.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Nothing like a little friendly competition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of things that are out now that you can promote, what would you like people to do for social media or things that they can like and follow?
Yeah, on social media, we have our Instagram page at Borderline Criminal Productions. And then me personally, I'm Kev Mosteller. I'm not going to botch it this time because it did last time. It's spelled KevMosteller. Weird name. Kev Mosteller. And
It's not that weird. My last name is Gasch.
Yeah.
Good horror name.
It's a good horror name, yeah.
Can't really go to Britain, but the important thing...
No. Well, I mean, so my real last name is Mosteller, and all you have to do is switch one L and one S, and it becomes Molester. So.
Oh no!
Yeah. So that was
not okay.
That was my junior high and high school. That was fun.
Luckily, my junior high and high school weren't as worldly, and I was merely Sam Gass.
Yeah. Oh, see that you got off
Gasch.
Yeah, you got off easy.
Yeah. In comparison, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my social media.
I like it.
Handles. And we're taking a script out for a round of pitches. So hopefully maybe next year we'll be going into production on a feature. Fingers crossed.
I think you'll get it.
Oh,
I think you're going to do good.
Thanks, man.
Mr. Recent winner of Best Director.
Ah, yes. Took home Best Director at Oregon Scream Week for my little short movie Swipe Left as well. That's something that has happened since the last time we...
And I like it. It's been an exciting 2 months for you.
It has. It really has. So hopefully an exciting few years ahead as well. Here we go.
100%. If you want to find out more about me, I'm at Sam Gasch, SamGasch on Twitter. If you want to follow the podcast, it is at Ideal Remake on Twitter and Instagram, or you can like Ideal Remake on Facebook. Thank you, Kevin, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
And I'm going to end this with my favorite line from the movie that we never referenced, and I'm just realizing that now.
Oh, what is it?
Come on, guys, don't be chicken shits.